Well, hello. Thank you, everybody. It's Big Chads. I'm coming to you. Today is November 8th, 2022. This is going to be an upload of the Twitter Spaces conversation from just a few days ago on Saturday. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. Um, I'll be hanging out here in the chat room, just kind of monitoring things as we go. But anyway, folks, thank you. I just want to say thank you, and let's get this started. What's up, everybody? Just give me a few minutes to get the party started. I'm going to send out some tweets and start to attach some tweets to this. So give it just a few minutes. If you're hanging out here on replay, thank you for listening, and I'll get this started soon. All right, I'm just starting to attach some things here for everybody, just some resources that I like to do when I do the Twitter Spaces. I'm connecting my textbook recommendations. Textbook 2022. See that right at the top of the spaces. And now lastly, I will attach my pinned tweet. All right. And boom, and I'm going to send out a tweet to invite people to join the conversation. Share via tweet. I'm going to say join and ask questions. BTC. All right. So folks, of course, I am Big Cheds. Find me on Twitter at Big Ched. Find me on YouTube at Ched Trading. I am the author of Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. You can get that book right now on Amazon in 4 formats: Kindle, hardcover, paperback, and audio. There's a free version on my YouTube channel, Ched Trading. Check out the playlist, Trading Wisdom. I have 18 of 50 lessons up there for free. I'll do another lesson probably this coming week. This is going to be uploaded to the playlist Twitter Spaces. This will be, I think, conversation 19. 19 of these unbelievable give and take conversations with me and you, where I bring you up, you ask questions, and we talk about stuff that, like, all traders have to deal with: how to trade, what the market's doing. So I love these conversations, and you make them worth it. Check out the Twitter Spaces playlist. Check out my masterclass webinars on Twitter, that playlist as well. That's the place you want to start if you're learning technical analysis. I'm a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. I've been doing this reports there for over 4 years. I do a twice a week full market report for members, and I'm really proud of the work that I've done there. And not just what I've done, our team. We have probably the best team in the world that studies crypto. And when you sign up, you get access to everything. So check out Bitcoin Live if you want to take things to the next level. If you're really serious about learning how to trade, this is learn from the best of the best. So check that out. But listen, it's a Saturday afternoon. It is the 5th of November. Happy November. What is it? Remember the 5th of November. This is a Guy Fawkes Day. Is that what it is? The 5th of November from V for Vendetta. I got my buddy who's over here looking at me crazy. So that's today. It's V for Vendetta Day. So folks, listen, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to bring you up into the conversation. So hit that button in the bottom left where it says, request to speak. And what we do, once we get things rolling, you ask questions, I answer. Sometimes I have a guest host as well. But we usually get through about 20 to 25 people asking questions. So I see Tim there. I am Tim. He's a returning person. But the people who are listening right now, I need to hear from you. I need you to hit that button, that microphone request button, because it's your questions just make this interesting. Just me talking and saying the same things over and over, that's not interesting. So we're going to sit here until we get at least a few more of you who would like to speak. So hit that button that says request to speak, and then we'll get this started. Just be patient. We're starting to build up the list. We have a couple people already. Folks, I'll bring you up, but I would like you to wait until I call your name, because we're going to have you one at a time. We're starting to build up the list. Let's get a few more. Folks, hit that button in the bottom left. Hit that button that says request to speak. And when it's your turn, I will call your name. Let's start out with I am Tim. I am Tim. What's going on, man? Hit unmute. Let's hear from you.
Hey, Chet, how are you?
Good to hear from you again. What's going on, buddy?
Well, since we last spoke, I was in Croatia on holiday when we last spoke, and I was talking about my kind of concerns about getting in and out of the market.
What was it like there in Croatia? I've never been. Like, what?
Oh, it's lovely. It's amazing.
It's a lot of
Really
like
good
old
food.
architecture and stuff, or?
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. So I went to a place in Istria, which is kind of up the north. It's on the sort of northeast coast, opposite Venice, and
Okay. Wow.
it was kind of originally populated by Venetians, and so it's kind of all that sort of style.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's beautiful. Really,
Good
really
for you.
recommend it.
That's awesome. I'll have to do it one day.
Yeah, highly recommend it. But yeah, so when I last spoke, I'd kind of gone all out of my positions in cash. You know, gone into cash.
Yeah.
And I sold at like 19K, but that's sterling, so I don't know what that is dollars wise.
Okay. I don't have like a G. What is it?
I don't know, maybe 22K at the time.
Okay. All right. That helps me. Yeah.
And anyway, so I've been, I've been following you for quite a while now. And I've been sort of going, buying in a little bit spot and then trying to sell just to make some money. And so I went in at like 19. I ended up going about 19.6 recently, dollars. And then yesterday, I thought, are we going to go up to like 21 and a half or not? And so I put my stops up to sort of 21.075. And they got triggered when it kind of dipped. And I was watching it on the 15-minute. I kind of dialed down watching it on the 15-minute chart, and watched it kind of rolling over. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to lift my stops up. And it got triggered, but I was happy with my gains. But a question for you though, sir, is you know what? I'm struggling with where to position my stop loss. So do you know, if I put it too low, then I'm scared I'm going to lose all the profit. And if I put it too high, then it gets triggered too quickly.
This is like a common question, and my best answer, what I always come up with, is you should be using multiple positions, right? Like whatever your size is. Let's say it's like, I don't know, $3,000. Have three $1,000 positions rather than one $3,000 position, right? Because then you can move one of your stop losses up, maybe keep one of them at break even, and then have one of them lower. Like it gives you more flexibility. If it's like, well, do I close my entire position here, or do I let it all ride here? It's like you're making it a harder decision.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's interesting because I've heard you talk about kind of laddering in and out and all that sort of stuff. And
yeah, that's not just laddering in and out. I mean, that's also the case, but but I'm saying literally at the same moment, split it up into three positions. Take three identical positions at the same time, not add in here and I'll scale in more lower, or I'll add to it higher. I'm saying like take your size and split it up and enter it at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So then you have more flexibility, right? Because you made a nice trade and you think it's going to dip, but you want to protect it. Move two of the three stop losses into profit and leave one down. So if those two trigger, the last one's probably free riding, and you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, and then I would have woken up a couple $100 better off this morning.
There you go, brother.
Oh, good advice, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right, you stay good out there. All right.
Yeah, you're the goat, man. Take care.
Hey, just trying to enjoy another day. So thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate all your input.
Keep it up. Thank you. That's great. So let's get some more folks in here on Big Cheds. Let's see up. We have we'll take John next. John the Punisher.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. By the way, folks, you can talk too. I want to hear from you. Everybody, hit that button in the bottom left. Let's get you in the conversation.
So, I forgot how much fun it is when things pump like this. You know, you get price action and all the alts. So I've done really well following stuff. You know, your principles and whatnot. I really appreciate all the stuff you do. My
Thanks, bro.
question
is that your beep or what?
What do you think this whole?
Sorry, I had to unmute you. There's a weird sound. Why don't you try again, John? There's some weird background noise, like a beeper going off or something. John, do you want to unmute and try again? John the Punisher?
Oops, can you hear me?
Yeah, but there's this weird, are you sitting on top of
can you hear me?
Like a washing machine that just went off? Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yo, so what's the question, brother? What would you like to say? Johnny, what would you like to say, bud?
Hello?
Hey, what's up, John? I can hear you, John. I'm going to put you on mute till you figure it out. John, let's put you on mute. Let's see. Monib, it is your turn. Mr. Monib Ahmad.
Hey, Ted. How's it going?
I'm doing good. John, hang out there. Monib, what's up, man? What would you like to say today?
First of all, fully appreciate the stuff that you do on Twitter. I find it hilarious when there's a lot of replies saying, "What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean?" When
I know
you literally are saying exactly what you mean, and if those who actually have tried or attempted to do a little bit of research or understand TA a little bit, and I'm just a beginner. I'm nothing like what you're doing. It's insane what you do, but I'm able to pick up the signals. And one of those signals was the double bearish divergence on the OBV. Now, I know recently we had a triple bearish divergence and we saw what happened there.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to ask was are these OBV bearish divergences, are they able to be mitigated somehow if price was to push through, keep going?
So think about the OBV. Like, what is the OBV? So, like, how do OBV, RSI, like, what's the difference, right? So RSI is a bounded oscillator, and I don't know. Do you know what that means?
In some ways, yes. It's just going to go top to bottom, really. Basically, just moving with the pattern, isn't it? Up down.
Yeah, it's bounded. It's got like a boundary. The top and it can't go above 100. So that's why you get a lot of like false divergence, because like it has to stop at 100 or whatever, or just below it. And that's why you get like RSI will give you bear divergence very early.
Yeah.
And that's why people get wrecked trying to trade on it. So that's a bounded oscillator, and it's measuring like strength based on the candle close within a 14-day look back. And what OBV is just an index. It's just literally it's just a running tally. So you add on the green days, you add the volume. On the red days, you subtract the volume.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just an index. It's a running tally. So when when your divergence happens is when the price is making a new high, but the OBV is not.
Yes.
That means that move up is not supported by volume and by buying volume, right? And so you should be a little bit cautious. A single divergence is like something, but double divergence you really pay attention to. Yeah. We had triple divergence, with I don't know the date in front of me. I just tweeted it out. It was end of August, middle August. Yeah, middle August, and that's ridiculous. I've never seen triple negative divergence on Bitcoin. I've been trading Bitcoin since 2017.
Yeah, I remember it was triple negative. I remember you calling that out and it being.
It was fun. It was fun, right, Chad? It's your fudding, Chads.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get that a lot. I think you get that.
If everyone likes you, you're not doing anything right. I mean, if everyone likes you, But what I realized is I used to get really mad and how dare you claim this and that. But what I realized, you need people to disagree with you or there's no market.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm learning to embrace the disagreement. That's something I'm really trying to do.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the bottom line is with this is if price just keeps moving onwards. So, for example, if there's either perp bids or spot bids that just drive this thing up, getting mitigated. But as it stands, double bearish divergence on the OBV is not a great look. Something to be cautious about.
Correct. But the price will still guide you. I mean, if you're long, it depends where you enter and what your stop loss is. But we just cleared. It's a new high. We just cleared the highs from late October. As long as it holds above those, you have to give bulls an edge here to push up to maybe 22.5. What I'm a patient. I'll patiently be a bear if I think it's going to reject. I'd love to see it push up again to 22.5, and then if we have triple negative divergence, you should be really looking closely to short somewhere in there. Wait till you get an up thrust, an evening star, some type of volume coming in with a weird high wave candle, long like doji or something like, one of those big super wide range candles. I'd like it's since we just had the triple divergence set up, I'm going to say, well, maybe we get it again.
Yeah.
And I'll be ready for it. But I'm not playing anyway in between. I'm really not 22.5 has always been the level. If you've listened to these spaces, and if you have, thank you. I do one every week or so, or week or two-ish. And I've been clear for couple months, like I'm not touching it below, unless we're at 18K or above 22.5. Like I'm not trading this choppy sideways trendless environment, because when you're sideways, the classical charting really doesn't work as well. And it's choppy signals. It's gonna stop you out and milk you for fees. So that's how I'm seeing it.
What are your thoughts just going forward, or in terms of, it's quite clear, the macro picture, it couldn't be more clearer, to be honest with you. There's Twitter has a lot
I'll just say wait and see. I mean, look, we could both, if we, and I appreciate your questions, and I'll move on to the next person, but we could extend this conversation and just talk macro, and it'll just be theory upon theory upon theory. I mean, that's just a way to pass the time. So I'll stay focused on my trigger levels on the chart. All right, brother.
Thank you so much.
Hey, keep traveling, and I wish you well.
Yeah, you too, buddy. Bye.
Thank you. That was a nice call. Next up, we have, let's see. I'm gonna get you folks up in here. I'm Big Chads on Twitter. Hit that request button. I will get you into the conversation. Kiel Mariant, it is your turn to speak. Chris, you're up next. Kiel, it's your turn. Kiel.
Hi, thanks, Chad. Long-time follower. Appreciate the work. Thank you.
Thank you. What's going on, bud?
Yeah, today I wanted to talk about the dollar. I think you mentioned it on Friday, and I think the dollar might be in a little bit of trouble. Everybody's piled long into the dollar, probably one of the more crowded trades out there.
Trades, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just curious, should the dollar see a solid correction? Obviously, it's going to send commodities up, but what's the correlation there with Bitcoin? Does a weakening dollar support the price of Bitcoin and other coins, or obviously
generally speaking, I mean, I'm not a macro guy, but I'll make that. I'll say that all the time. I'm just a pure price guy, but it's pretty clear even to a fundamentals novice like myself that rising dollar hurts risk assets and some of the higher beta stuff we like to play. So a falling dollar would presumably be relief for equities, would be relief for Bitcoin and for shit coins, but they're ripping right now, which is interesting. So that's something we should talk about, given the strength we're seeing here on these altcoins. It's almost like a late stage rally type of strength, we're seeing in the altcoins. But in terms of the dollar, I mean, the dollar is still bullish. Bulls still have the edge. We had the nasty red day on Friday, but if we're above 109, I would just assume the trend's going to continue. We very well, may by the middle of the week, next week or something, like drop below that, like that's fine. And then I'll change my opinion, but I'm giving all benefit of the doubt to bulls here on every dip. Until we get below, if and when we're below 109, because it's just a really strong daily trend still. We were back up above the MA50. We just lost it, but we're still basically at like a big support level for the Dixie, the dollar basket, dollar index.
Yeah, definitely. We could drop good ways and still be bullish. I mean, it's due for a correction, obviously. But
I mean, you can see it could go here. It drops 109. It could still catch a bid at like 104.5, or 105. But I think if it goes down, it definitely makes it so it's better for risk on when the dollar goes down. I know that much at least.
Awesome. Thanks for taking my call. Thanks.
Cheers, brother. Let's see, Chris. What's up, Chris? What would you like to say?
Hey, Chad. Good afternoon. Really appreciate your videos. Follow you here on Twitter. So appreciate your body of work, the free advice you give. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you, Chris.
Thank you. I have two questions. One is around a macro, and the other one's specifically around ETH price movement.
About what movement? Okay, sure.
Ethereum. So Powell came on the 2nd. He was hawkish. He did his thing.
Who was?
Powell.
Okay.
The Fed. Yeah. And the CPI numbers are coming out on the 10th and PPI soon after. And then December after that, and Fed is removing liquidity from the market. So I'm kind of interested in knowing what your thoughts are on how this market's going to pan out over December and into January.
Well, look, I mean, we could just guess a lot. I mean, seasonality is good for bulls. I mean, this is seasonally a good time, and I think there's a point at which some of these funds just want to put their money back to work. But yields have to stop rising, and I think when yields stop rising, I think we'll be in a much better position. I don't know if they stop rising this month. I don't know if bonds have bottomed. Have bonds bottomed yet? I thought they might have bottomed, but now they're kind of had a bad week for bonds. So, that's going to have to settle itself out. And the thing with the bottom, it can be close, but it could take months. If we're talking about both price and, like bonds and for yields to stop rising. So, and again, this is me speaking as a complete noob on fundamental stuff, right? I'm a chart guy, but, I try to listen. And so, seasonally, it's a good time of year, but until yields stop rising, there's going to be pressure on equities. I mean, we got to see. I mean, look at the SPX, look at the weekly candle in the SPX, right? If you pull that out, that's not a great candle for bulls. It's an outside bar after an advance. And that, would suggest to me that we're probably going to go back to like 3,600, in the SPX. But could we bottom later in the month, or maybe we don't go down at all? I mean, these are all it's all probabilistic, but just there's plenty of reasons to still be cautious. Certainly until some of these kind of underlying things change. As I mentioned, yields, the dollar rising with the last guest.
Yeah.
And, that's that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. The second question was around Ethereum. So it rallied from around 1,300 late October.
Yeah.
Now it's hovering around 16. And what are the charts saying? I'm looking at OBV. You talk about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I look at it from around the beginning of October. OBV is back to where it was in the beginning of October.
Yeah.
How do I interpret this? Does it mean Ethereum has more legs? Is it going to go up? Or
no? Well, there's not a lot of info on the OBV right now. It's more or less matching what the price is doing, so it's not really giving us information.
Got it.
Which is fine. And really, what the OBV, I'm going to mute you real quick while I talk because there's feedback. But essentially, what you want to do, and these are great questions, is use the OBV to confirm what the price is doing. So that's that. And yeah, you can also draw patterns in the OBV, a head and shoulders and stuff like that. It's not as valuable as the price, but sometimes it'll give you an early clue. But in terms of what is Ethereum doing, and I'll answer your question, and then I'll unmute you and kind of see if you have a follow up. But it's right at the MA200 on the daily. I mean, that's a big spot. That's where it rejected back in April. So it's right at a big spot, right? We clearly have, it's more bullish than Bitcoin. We know that. It just had a nice bull break from 1430. So if you went long at 1200, you sold at 2K, and you did nothing, you bought back in at 1430. You're already up on your trade. So there's been some very clear, very easy, horizontal trades. It just broke out of that base. It was in a beautiful, from the end of September through October, about a 5-6 week base. It just broke out of that, right? October 24th, 25th. But it's a bounce now into the 200 again. And again, right where we rejected back in, March. So here we are again, wait and see territory. We have another bounce in a downtrend, because Ethereum is a downtrend that just bounced, and it's bounced into the 200. So, the way I'm playing Ethereum is I would go long at 1800 break, and I would go long above 2000. I'm already long from 1430, but if I'm thinking of other long triggers, that's what that would be. Otherwise, I'd be an eager buyer back, down, at various support levels, 1420, 1260, 1270, and then 1000, right? So you got to see how that chart plays out. But for now, to try to simply answer your question about in a downtrend at the MA200, we have to see if it can clear it. Chris, what do you got?
Well, thank you. These are all good inputs. I did get in at 1300, and I got out right after Paul spoke at 16 something.
Nice.
So now I'm in a conundrum. Should I get back in? Should I wait? And you're right about it. It's at the 200 daily moving average and the 20 weekly average too. So that's what's giving me pause. And I don't know what to do from here on.
Well, look, those moving averages are fine, but you're not basing your trade on it. You need a horizontal level nearby, and the most clear levels on that chart daily would be 1430 and now 1800. So now you're stuck in kind of a no trade zone, which is fine. That's usually a good position, because then it's easy to do nothing.
Got it.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thanks for being part of this. Folks, hit that not hit that like button. This isn't YouTube. Hit that request button. I want to hear from you. You can hear me talking all the time, but it's you folks that make this more interesting. What do we have? Wakas Abid. Wakas, what is up, my friend?
Hey, hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. How are you doing today?
Good. Just being a little rainy today, but otherwise nothing much happening.
All right, good for the earth, I guess.
Yeah. So my question is basically, I'm not kind of like a trader. I'm basically like someone who would buy Bitcoin on spot for maybe like a generational bottom kind of thing.
Hold on a second before you answer, and thank you for coming up. Here's what I wonder: how can Bitcoin have a generational bottom when it's only been around for like 12 years? Like people say that it's like a generation's like minimum 20 years, right? Like, what are we doing here?
I know, but you know, like what I'm getting at. So,
I know, but I'm speaking to an earlier version of myself who might be enticed by the idea of a generational bottom. But it's like, we're so new, so don't talk to me about a generational bottom. All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't think so. I never FOMO'd like all the way from maybe like January to June. But now, all of a sudden, now I'm feeling that FOMO that I should go in and buy spot Bitcoin because there's not a lot of like macro downtrends left. I mean, they've crashed the stock market from like so high to so low now.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, just for comparison, like look at where Facebook was, or maybe where like other like stocks were.
Yeah.
And I mean,
tech. You're talking about tech. Some stuff's at all-time high. It depends where you're looking at the market. I mean, energy's all-time high.
Yeah. So where would you? I would say, like, my question would be, where would you advise somebody who's not trading this, is basically trying to buy and just leave it for maybe the next 10 years to?
I don't think that's smart to do that. Here's what I would say, and I don't give buying advice. I give chart analysis advice, trend analysis. Right. And what I can tell you is that first of all, we've never been this weak in Bitcoin's history. Okay. On the weekly chart has never been this weak. Never been this damaged or threatened. If you look at the slope of the 200 moving average, right? We've never spent this much time below it. It's never been this flat. So, and before in prior history, we had never broken an all-time high. Like, we already did that this time.
Okay.
So, I think we have to caution ourselves to the idea that all we have to do is buy, and then 4 years later, it's going to be an all-time high. Like, that's worked a couple times already, maybe a few times. But how, you buy now in 10 years? How are you, like, what level of certainty, like, between 0 and 0 do you have of what it's going to be in 10 years? So if you can lose the money, and I got to mute you because there's a background noise.
Yeah, sorry.
I say that as someone is using a saw in my background here. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Sorry, I said that as soon as someone's doing construction. So, buy here. Look, if you don't need the money and it's a basket, part of a basket of an investment portfolio, fine. But like, what, I'm not saying this is gonna do this, but it's in the cards that we break support here. Try to bounce off 10, 12K, and we don't do it, and we go below 10K for like an extended period of time. I mean, like, who knows? You don't count, what we're going to be in 10 years. We've only been around 10 years, and we've now never seen the weekly chart this week. All right. Now, in terms of, that's a broader picture, and now you can, that's a broader picture. More narrow is if you're trying to know where you can go long, if it breaks 22.5, you can take some long exposure. But every time you do that, you have to know when your idea fails. So let's say it gets back below 22K, you would cut that position. All right. You got to have you have to define whatever your idea is. Like, if your whole idea is I'm buying now for 10 years, like, well, when is your idea wrong? Are you going to ride that? You can answer it now. Like, are you going to ride that position to like 0 if it happens? Like, how do you know when your idea is wrong?
Like, so, I mean, like I said, it's money I'm willing to lose. Like, it's not going to change my lifestyle, or it's not going to destroy my buying power or anything. It's basically something, if it goes high, it's a good thing. Like, I just don't want to regret, like, oh, I missed out, and then I'm chasing something when it hits
wouldn't
like
you
40,000.
Wouldn't you rather miss out than I'd rather wish I was out of a trade. I'd rather wish I was in a trade than wish I was out of one. Okay. I'd much rather wish I was in a trade than wish I was out of it. Do you see what I'm saying? I'd rather miss something than have to manage a massive losing position. All right. So look, if you're just whatever in your position, just buy a little bit every week and don't even look at the chart, and then you'll sleep at night if that's what you want. If you want exposure,
right?
If you don't want to do the hard work of trend analysis and the sweat and the kind of emotional stress of it, Just buy a little bit. Buy a little bit every week and then go read a book.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm trying to I'm trying to keep like most of my money out of it because I started kind of like buying Litecoin like back in 2017, and then it went to like 300.
How much did you sell?
So I never sold, like, but
why
then
not?
I was saying, like, just because, like, I mean,
see, there you go.
That wasn't money.
You not only don't know when your idea is wrong, you don't know when your idea is right. That's your problem. See, think about that. I want you to really meditate on that.
Yeah. And just to close it off, so what happened? Like, so it went all the way down to like $30, and I was like,
I remember I traded it both ways.
so then I was like, oh, it's even gonna go further down to $10, and then it went to like 50, and I said, oh, I'll wait now again to like 30, and then went to 100, and then it was back to 200, and I was like, gosh, I missed the whole cycle.
Here's your problem: you don't even the best investors have to have a basic level of trend analysis. You need to pay attention to this. If it was Litecoin or whatever. When a major support level is broken, okay, if it comes back later and it recaptures that, that's something you pay attention to. So if you're afraid you're going to miss the run to 100K, just buy if it gets back above 28K. Okay, or back up above, really, I'd say 25.5K would be that's
good advice. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if it's going from here to 100, it has to pass through those levels, and those are, and so you have to understand momentum pivot levels. Pay attention. Go watch my masterclass webinar on YouTube. It will give you some general sense of trend analysis, and that'll help you feel more in control. Okay.
Right. That's good points. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. I see some old friends. We'll get you up here soon. Hey, Ebram, we'll get you up there soon. Let's go with Andrew. Andrew, what would you like to say?
Hello, chat. Thank you for.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
Andrew, Michael, wait till I call you. Go ahead, Andrew. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you for everything you're doing. I got situation that I was person who was hodling, investing, similar situation, maybe like previous Chris, and I wanted to switch fully to trading, and I got this case. Let's assume that I got $1,000.
Okay.
And I'm trading 10% of it, so that I want to have some risk management to only maybe lose $2 per trade. And then every time there is that BTC is going up, then I'm having FOMO that maybe I should have 80% or 50% as just buy spot and keep it. To even that if the price will go down, then I will don't have, or if the price will go up dramatically, then I can still trading with this, keep learning with this small amount, and I will not have feeling that now I'm losing. FOMO came in because the price is generally going much higher. And what kind of advice would you have? Should I just later on don't worry about that and increase the risk management to full 1,000, or is it just safe to put 50% or some kind of DCA into normal BTC and later switch to alts? I don't know how to.
It's a complicated. It's a great question, but there's a lot of ways I could answer it. And the first thing is to know. I think the most important. It should start with know your risk threshold and know like how much you're willing to lose, and be comfortable with this amount of money, because you have to be comfortable with it to really properly use it. So, for example, like a trade, if you want to trade, you need a lot of experience. So you should be trading like really tiny positions to get a lot of experience. A lot of like $5 and $10 trade size, right? You need like probably I wouldn't have more than like a $10, $25 trade maybe size. Like with your bankroll, like you need a lot of experience. All right, so that's number one. So practice a lot, use a journal, watch my free videos. I have a ton of resources for you on my YouTube. You have to watch all of that. Like you honestly shouldn't need, like first of all, have you watched my YouTube masterclass series yet?
Yes, of course. I watch them.
Okay, good.
I read your books. Good. Candlestick, this yellow one.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, I mean, like trading without watching those videos is ridiculous. You have to watch those videos first. In terms of should you put half of your account into a hodl here, I mean, if you do that, how do you know when that idea is wrong? If you're going to just buy some spot, figure out a stop loss and when that idea is wrong. Because, yeah, it could go to 25K, 30K, but it could easily go to 12K from here. And that's pretty far down. So, you know, whatever you're going to do, define when your idea is wrong. It's like the most important theme in all of this, okay?
Yeah.
And bet little bet. You're trading, bet really small amounts, okay?
Okay, okay, I
Go
see.
ahead.
Yeah, I think what you said to Chris is really good. That this let's assume this 25, then I can make also bigger spots, but then it's clearly invalidation. Yeah. And still keep trading with smaller size. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Chet. Yeah.
Good luck to you, brother. Good luck to you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have. Thank you. Abram. I had Michael. I lost him, but go ahead, Abram.
Yeah. Hey, Chet. How are you doing?
What's up, dude? How you been?
All good. All good. So I just have a quick question or thought here because I'm also following Peter Brand and I'm looking at Bob Lucas as well. Peter. I don't know, like this old dude on Twitter. I don't know.
The guy with the laser eyes?
Yes, exactly. That's the question. So yeah, he's called them LED lights, or I don't know what he's replacing his eyes with. Yeah. So what's your take on that? Because honestly,
on what on what he said, or what's my take on what?
Yeah, sure. So I've been like the post FOMC reaction got me a little bit confused on what's happening there. Like Dixie had a tough dump yesterday. Bitcoin will not go down no matter how much equities are willing to go down. If you divide Bitcoin by NASDAQ, you could see a slight breakout on a horizontal. If you do the same for S&P, it won't show the same thing. So there is definitely relative strength to crypto compared to equities. And I am having a feeling that...
Wait. There's relative strength in crypto. All of crypto, or are we just talking shit coins?
Forget about shit coins. I'm talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum.
What is Bitcoin? What has Bitcoin done? It's been sideways for 4 months, 6 months, 5 months, whatever. I mean, it's still nothing has happened. If you listen to my spaces, nothing's happened. We're still below 22.5. Like that's the first level to even start to get a sniff of interest, really. I mean, we're in a flat, trendless, sideways environment. Like low volume, ain't shit happening. Like Bitcoin is like when equities are tanking, Bitcoin's at 20K, 19K, 21K. When equities are way up, Bitcoin's at 20K, 19K, 21K. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter. It's not relative strength. It's showing decoupling lately. It hasn't done shit. There's no strength relative. There's no strength in Bitcoin here. There's just no weakness either. It's just ain't nothing. There's no signal. There's nothing. It's still a sideways, trendless environment. I'm gonna let everyone else around me jump all over the place at nothing until I see something worth getting out of bed for.
Okay, so so far so good. I agree with what you've been saying. The only thing is, like, when I looked at dividing the Bitcoin by NASDAQ, it that's what I was saying. There's a slight breakout there on
by NASDAQ, 4 or 5 months. But why don't you throw XLE up? Why don't you go Bitcoin versus energy ETF?
Yeah, I understood. It depends what you're dividing it with, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is a very headline sensitive environment. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So everyone is just waiting for that clue, which means no one knows anything right now. Nobody knows jack shit. Sorry for the swears. Nobody knows anything. So the only thing you can do is focus on the key levels of the chart giving us. You can only take what the price is giving us. 22.5, 18K area. Everything else is a recipe to trade away your funds. Go have fun. There's so much action in altcoins. I would be insane to be trying to trade Bitcoin here in the middle of a chop range.
Yep, I do agree with that. The altcoins are acting in a way that is making me concerned that all of these are scam funds.
Yeah, are you kidding me? What are we seeing here? Oh, sorry, background noise. Hold on.
No worries. Yeah. So I'm not jumping in. I'm not jumping in yet. But I am having a feeling that it is getting tougher and tougher with somebody, I don't know who, is building buy walls, buying everything that every time it tries to go below 19 or 20.
That's not good. That's not good. That's a bad sign. I didn't know that. Hold on. There's noise behind me. Hold on, folks. I'm near a road here. It's windy. Mother Nature doesn't want me to make this point because it's so powerful. I'm about to make.
But I can hear you perfectly. By the way, it's
good.
not
So I'm sorry. I'm just being dramatic. Look, if you're telling me there's buy walls, you should be even more careful. That is a really bad sign.
Sure, because when somebody gives up on them,
that's a prop bid. They hold the buy. They're distributing. That's a distribution sign. Those are people holding up the bid, and as soon as the bid starts to get hit, they pull it. They don't want to buy. It's like how do you think a descending triangle forms? You have a flat base of support, right? Oh wow, there's massive support. It bounces. They distribute more. It comes back to support. Wow, there's massive support. It bounces again, but it's a lower high. Right? Just visualize a descending triangle. Or flip it around. You have an ascending triangle, and you have what's called an ask wall or a loading wall. You ever see that? Where there's like a huge order up? It will scare away retail. People are trying to accumulate before it goes higher. I read about it in my book. I've tweeted about it a million times. If you're telling me there are buy walls, I try not to use order book. I don't want to look outside the chart, but I know what a buy wall is, and that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign. I'm interested. You told me that. I didn't know that.
I'm not saying that it feels like there is one. Like I haven't checked the order books as well. Like let me be clear, I haven't gone through the order books and verified that assumption, but that's how it feels like.
Yeah. Well, look, it's just, I mean, there's no edge. There's no edge in Bitcoin here until we make a move over one of those levels. You know, altcoins right now is where the action is, without question.
Sure.
All right.
I'll wait to see what happens around 22.
Yeah, I don't know what Peter. You mentioned Peter Brandt. Why is he bullish or what's going on?
I'm quickly skimming through his trades. So I think what he was saying.
Are you a Factor member?
I was, and I didn't renew just because we're going sideways. There's not much for me, but I could renew. But mostly, I think he's convinced that maybe the majority of the drop happened just by historical percentiles. We're at 75%, so that usually falls within range. So he's saying maybe that's not the bottom, but we could trend a little bit lower. But he's convinced that that's probably it.
All right, I'd be careful not to draw his conclusion further than he's extended it even.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes. I guess I'll wait to see what happens.
I know Peter. I revere Peter. He's a legend. But I know. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I just say it's still nothing's changed, so it doesn't matter. Nothing's changed. I could have this conversation with you 2 weeks ago. Nothing's changed really in the chart.
Yeah, I completely get that. Like nothing has changed. We've been crabbing. We've been going sideways. There is, in my opinion, there's so much excitement to the amount of green candles we've got on a Bitcoin. Like almost nothing has happened. Yeah. On a weekly, it still looks like it's a lower high. I know you don't like to talk about divergences, but hey, there is a hidden bearish divergence on the weekly.
A hidden bearish with the RSI?
Yes.
I think if you're going to use RSI, you should only use it for hidden divergence.
Okay.
Continuation makes sense. It makes sense.
So far, I'm on the side that says I am hesitant to get bullish.
Yeah.
Here, I do understand that in order to go down further, we need to trap more longs. Mm-hmm. But I also do understand that in order for us to pump, we need to have left a lot of people behind, and then you get people foaming again. Right. That's more. Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I got a phone call. Hang in there for a second, folks.
Sure. I'll handle the conversation until you're back.
All right, folks. Yeah, so thank you, Abram. Thank you so much, man. Let me move on. It's good to hear from you again, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Talk to you.
Bye. All right, let's see. Michael, your turn. Let's try it. Michael Crown, Samik.
Jim, chat. Thank you for taking the time.
Good. Crypto Cleve, I'll give you one more chance. Please let me unmute you. Don't unmute yourself. I don't know if your phone is not connected right. But go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe a little bit touch on as well. I've got certain difficulties to connect. I couldn't hear you once I got on the stage. So
what's up, brother? What can we do for you today?
Yeah, just a quick question, which is not related to trading and a chart. So I'm not so sure, if that's going to be the best place. Anyways, would you be able to recommend me certain, software for blockchain for Bitcoin, or is that a question which I should ask rather somebody else?
What software for what?
For Bitcoin, like
What do you mean?
developing
like
software.
coding and stuff?
Yeah, not specifically the coding, but I would say some kind of platform where you can do your applications, etc.
Yeah, I think I don't have a good answer on that one.
Yeah. I wasn't sure, because obviously I see you've been doing trading mostly, so I was wondering.
Yeah, I don't know anything about. I'm not. I wish I knew more, my friend. What else?
Appreciate it. No worries. I take that to the account. Okay, thanks very much. Thanks
I hope you have a wonderful day. If anybody knows his answer, try to tweet it at me, and I'll try to get it to you. So thank you, buddy.
All the best, brother. Have a good one.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks for being patient, everyone. We'll get you into the conversation. Why don't we go Freedom Junkie up next? Would like to hear from you. What would you like to say today? Freedom Junkie, it is your turn. I'll give you a few moments. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter. Check out all my stuff on YouTube at Cheds Trading. Folks, at the top of this space, there's some links for you to check out stuff.
Hello, Cheds.
Hello, Freedom Junkie. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. I called you once before, but my throat was broken at the time, so you probably didn't even hear me that much.
Are you doing better? Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling normal now. Everything's good.
Good.
So I have a question about XRP.
Okay.
What is your view on XRP from here onwards?
I mean, it's had some juice. It had a nice little bounce last couple months ago, and it's just slowly going sideways. It's in a really large, like, rectangle right now.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in a rectangle from really 42 cents, and the peak of that is around 55 cents. Okay. And so when you think about any move, okay, if it's going to go to $1, or if it's going to go to like whatever, 75, 80 cents, well, let's say $1, every move will have to move, and then it will pause and consolidate. A bull flag, an ascending triangle. Given that this consolidation is coming after in advance, you'd have to say it's more likely to break out bullish. But that doesn't mean you just buy here. I think the way it's trading in this wide, choppy range between 55 and 42, I think you just have to use those two levels. If you want to go long, you just go long above, 55 cents. If you want to short it, look for a rejection there. And you could also buy around 42, 43 if you like it. For me, I just think of it as just like a nonsense noob coin that I just see that people are annoying and stuff. But like, whatever, maybe they win the court case, and maybe there's a theory of how it's going to $5 finally. I mean, whatever. But if it's going to do that, it has to break 55 cents. So in the end of the day, all you need is a chart. Anyway, at the end of the day, all you need is a chart anyway. So I'll just use the chart. You know what I mean?
From what I see, the wedge pattern is it's breaking out from that wedge pattern from like what price? 47 or something like that, and it's been shooting up like a star, and now it's consolidating.
Yeah, but that's sure. But you have to just focus on the major horizontal levels. I mean, I just see this as chop in between 42, 55. I mean, if you go long here, when are you wrong? You have to, if you're going to go long here, it's always about when is your idea wrong? So just think carefully about that. I try to never let like an idea of where I want it to go, or where I think it should go, like, enter into the equation. It just has to be based on the price clearing a hurdle, reaching a checkpoint, and that's how that's when you trigger your trade. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Cheds.
All right. I hope you do well, and thanks for stepping in. All right.
You too.
That's it, folks. All you got to do is hit that request button, and I'll try to get you into the conversation. Crypto Cleve, it's good to see you again. What is going on?
Hey guys, what's up? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, man. What's cracking?
A whole lot of nothing. I'm just listening to everyone talk. I'm getting ready for a Friendsgiving later on, getting, holiday stuff going. So
that's dope.
Making some unhealthy food. So I'm just sitting here grating like 2 pounds of cheese and getting ready to make some homemade mac and cheese. So it's going to be a good day.
Oh, man.
But
there you go.
Anyway, yeah, I've been noticing kind of the same things that you've been pointing out on those tweets over the last week or so with, I've been following along with that Bitcoin bear div on the OBV. I've noticed, Litecoin and all these things are, kind of popping off, and I don't know, definitely makes me defensive. Obviously you have a couple catalysts coming up this week, so try not to get too crazy with things. But I guess my question, or the thing I wanted to ask you about was, I know someone mentioned it, maybe I missed it because I hopped up in here a little late, but I'm looking at Litecoin for possibly shorting it. Yeah. I'm not shorting it. I'm not looking to short it yet, but just on that weekly chart, I see nothing but air after the 74, 75.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we're going to stall, it's going to be there. So I really want to look to get on there. When I go to the daily, though, I do see that small little supply zone, maybe at 80.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But again, I'm kind of looking at the weekly. But when I go down to the daily, when I go to the daily, 74 range, 74, 75,
definitely
is kind of the key level. And just the speed that we've gone up. I mean, the last 4 days, it's been straight up and had a little bit of a range, so it's broken out. But I mean, it is Litecoin, and I feel like at some point it's going to retrace. So I was hoping to get a weekend pump. It's only Saturday. It's early in the day.
So what else? What would you drop? What about do you see an upthrust? I think that's really excellent analysis, and I tend to agree with you with Litecoin. I actually thought it would have already faded more like 62, 63. I was expecting it to fade, and it's bounced, and now I'm stepping back a little bit. And for me to short it, what I would love to see is it go back below like 67. You see the high from the September 13th candle?
Yep.
Right? So, we've already got yesterday's candle, a little decent upper shadow on yesterday's candle. And if we could maybe roll over, I mean, it doesn't, I just look for a scenario, right? But it could just roll over today and dip below that September 13th candle. And that would be a nice short setup for me. Maybe we get a doji or a spinning top and roll that into an evening star. So I think, but you're right on. If you get more strength and there is some resistance there, 74, 75. But it's just a matter of how on the lower time frame, what the price structure will give you in terms of an entry, right? And that's why I mentioned an up thrust. I usually use that, or a support level it establishes and loses, or just some weird, long upper shadow candle. I'm with you, man. I pretty much I'm right with you. Whatever you've said. I don't think I really added much value, but I think. Here's what I would say. Yeah, it's a total garbage one, but you know what? We have to respect the pump, and we're back above the MA 200. We have had a lower high break. We're above that September 13th candle. That's the lower high. So I mentioned it. So I'd say above that September 13th candle, give bulls a little benefit of the doubt as long as we're above that one candle.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and my issue with wanting to, or my patience on shorting, not really wanting to try to hop in too early is, as you mentioned, looks like bulls are trying to push some, but it looks like ETH. I mean, if it clears, we're back at that 1650 area that I told you about. I shorted last week. I jumped out on that early. I got out at 1600, but a win's a win. But I'm thinking with the strength, it almost seems like ETH wants to try to go to maybe mid 17s, that 1780 area.
Yeah, I'm looking 1800. I mean,
I'm still being cautious with shorting or trying to fade something. If say ETH or Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's going to go to 22,
right.
If Litecoin's going to keep pushing, then maybe it squeezes 74, 75, maybe deviates or something. But so I want to know if I was crazy or not. If I was looking to fade Litecoin, just because it is kind of a dino coin that, I mean, the CEO or the founder, jumped ship at 350 at the top in 2018.
Well, his average actually around 220. He sold all the way up, and it's a little bit of a misnomer. People think that he sold the top. Mm-hmm. He sold his final 15% up there, 20%. But if you do his average, he sold around 220, which is still really good because
I was gonna say he still made all right then. But
he did okay. But I think first of all, everything you've said sounds really smart to me, and but it's probabilistic, right? Usually when Bitcoin's kind of flat and Ethereum's showing strength and altcoins are this strong and dino coins are this strong, right? We're towards the later stages of a pump, right? Usually, but maybe, that's 80, 90% of the time. But, what if this is,
different,
what if this is different, right? So even though everything you're saying is right, be ready to to know when you're wrong. Just always know when you're wrong. I feel like I've said that so many times today. It's just gonna be really important in this trendless environment which we're in. So, all
exactly. I think. Oh, last thing. This is just kind of a disclaimer. Just
you're like,
point
what
it
else
out.
do I want to ask Cheds? What else do I want to ask Cheds?
No. This is I'm not asking anything. This is a free tidbit of info for everybody. But yesterday, I got a text. I tweeted it on my page, but so I have the receipts if anyone wants to see it. But I have a friend that has doubted crypto, and he texted me yesterday and told me he bought Doge. So I think that's borderline a top signal. So if anyone's holding Doge, you might want to TP some, because he texted me literally mid-October of last year, and like 3 weeks later we topped out for the macro cycle. So I don't know if it's coincidence, but so retail's like really hopping on Doge now, it seems like. But from what I can tell, because I have some friends that are starting to chirp about it, and I don't know.
I think we got to be careful with the Doge pump. I think given, and I'm a chart guy, and I only look at the chart and I talk about it, but like, Elon could do something that would destroy anybody's like chart. I mean, he could say so let's just be careful now, because it's just now Twitter's a private company owned by Elon, who's like a Doge enthusiast. And so, yes, we know why there's crazy interest, but, I mean, if it goes to $1, would that surprise you? It wouldn't surprise me.
I've had that argument with some people, just because it is still inflationary.
I'm not saying it's going to $1. I'm asking you just simply, would it surprise you? I mean, just initially when I ask you that question, first thought out of your mind, would it surprise you if it hit $1?
I would be, just because we couldn't even hit $1 in a raging bull market, and now we're in a bear market, or
dollar. I mean, went up to 80 cents. Sure it would surprise you?
I just look at the
Elon
supply
said
and the
you can
market
only get a check mark. What if he said you can only get a check mark with Doge?
By paying in Doge? You got to pay $8 in Doge?
Yeah, like,
I guess
whatever.
That could make sense, but I mean, the market cap would be the third largest market cap at that point, and it would be.
You'd just be arguing with the market and saying you're too expensive, and the market would say, "Pay me $1 for a Doge."
Yeah. I don't know.
The market will be irrational. I'm not saying you're wrong, and it's not about that. I'm saying that's how crazy this is, where he could just do anything. We have to. I think with this one, that I will be careful, and if I shorten it, I'm getting my stop loss in good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm not looking to short it, because like everything that you just said, like he could literally just pull a hat trick out and this thing just goes nuts.
No, I mean, I shorted it 4 days ago, right? Because it gave an upthrust again. Yeah. Right? It just gave an upthrust, but I'm not going to go now back in and just like assume it's. Yeah, we're on the same page. So we're on the same page. Great to hear from you, brother. All right?
Yeah, man. Well, have a good one. You guys have a good Saturday. Good talking as always.
Have fun with the cheese. Peace out,
Thanks,
Doc.
man. Yeah, man.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, these I love these conversations. I'm going to get all you folks in here. Thank you for being patient. Everyone who has been waiting to speak, bring you folks up here. Let's get Crypto Pikachu, and folks, please wait till I call you. Once I up, I will get to you in time. Make sure Twitter has access to your microphone. I'm Big Cheds. Check out Cheds Trading on YouTube. Check out Bitcoin Live. Crypto Pikachu, it is your turn.
Cheds, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on with you?
Beautiful day in New England, huh?
It is. Not too many. There's some leaves. Those oaks still have some leaves, but the rest are pretty much mostly gone here.
Right. My question, I was kind of intrigued when you tweeted the Microsoft chart that it tagged the weekly 200 for the first time in 9 years.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It kind of spurred the question where looking at the weekly 200 MA versus like those pre-COVID highs.
Pre-COVID highs. Let's get it right here, brother. Pre-COVID highs. Pre-COVID highs was what, like 190?
190, yeah.
Okay.
It made me think. Yeah. Between the two of them, like you get the weekly 200 and then the pre-COVID highs.
Okay.
Like which one is a stronger floor? Like
That's a pretty easy one to answer, honestly, because if you look at, first of all, pre-COVID highs, you're talking about a sharp. So let's go back to June of 19 through October 19th. You have like whatever rectangle, for a couple months. You can more or less, and then just have a pure unabated uptrend, upper Bollinger to EMA 8. which is just like the first stage of like a rocket ship,
Right.
And then it ended with the evening star. We have the green Maribozu, then we got the shooting star, and you got that bear engulfing candle on the so whatever. You have a 3-candle top. Okay. Yep. Yeah, the pre-COVID highs, but it was just like 3 weeks. Yeah, you compared it to right now. Look at basically between July of 2020 and January of 21. It's basically like a 6-month ascending triangle.
Right.
And it broke out of it. So you're in the middle of. So you're asking me like, is there what's between a 6-month consolidation zone and a 3-week data point? Which one's more important? This is a big spot for Microsoft. It is ridiculous. Not only is the first time, so on its own, when you hit a moving average like a MA200 for the first time in this 9 years,
right,
on a weekly chart. And you've had this much price distance too to the 200. Like it's been above it dramatically, right? You're almost always going to bounce off of it. It's like a very high I'm writing a book, the book after the next book. The book after the trading journal is a poker trading crossover, and it has like trade setups ranked the way poker hands are ranked.
Oh, that's great.
And like one of them, like in one of the near the top tiers, is like an MA200 retest after like 9 years. Right. So you take that, and now we're testing that ascending triangle base. I mean, it like should bounce here if I knew nothing about the chart outside of the chart. If I knew nothing about what talking heads are telling me about, pressures and equities and whatever the hell is going on. It's like you look like it should probably bounce here. I mean, look at all that support.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, the 9 years does that become a long-term trend that sort of trumps this short-term trend?
Does what become a long-term trend?
That it hasn't gotten this close to the weekly 200.
It just means we should get a tradable bounce here.
Right.
That's just all it means. It doesn't really tell you much about a year down the road.
Okay. And based off that, I mean, taking another look at the pre-COVID highs for most things, that's not a reliable high time frame horizontal support.
It's chart by chart. You tell me which one, and it's just not about. It really depends on that chart, because that chart could have based at a certain level. I mean, every chart's different, and has to look for where the biggest levels are. Start with what the price is telling you, where it's the important levels are. Find a way to define your risk by defining levels. And if the levels are messy, go find another chart that doesn't have messy levels, and then go play that one.
Right. The something recently that's really brought that to light is the Ethereum chart with some of these very large high time frame supports at 1244, just the 1000 that go back. They go back years, so it's really helpful to look at.
There you go, brother. It's great to hear from you today. All right.
All right. Thank you, Cheds. Appreciate you.
It's good to hear you folks. You folks, what make this interesting? Nobody wants to hear me talk to myself. Hitesh, let's bring you up here. Hitesh, what is up?
Hi, Sheds.
Good to see you again. What's going on?
Good, brother. So I wanted your advice. Like, I'm looking at the 3-day chart of Bitcoin, and all I can see is a very bullish engulfing candle on the 3-day with increasing volume. To me,
it's looking at the 3-day chart Bitcoin.
Yeah. So it looks to me like we are going to 22,000, and then if it goes to 22,000 and we have a bullish weekly close by then, I think it's going to be a good week. And I'm not sure why people are so.
So go ahead.
So what do you make of this? Like, just have a look at the 3-day Bitcoin chart.
I'm looking at it now. Yep, nice candle. Is that outside bar? Let's see.
It's making a bullish engulfing.
Outside bar. Yeah, it's a really nice candle. EMA 34.
Let's assume it goes up from here for the next 3 days at least. So it gives a very
That's it. Oh, well, let's just assume, huh?
Yeah.
We're just gonna assume it's a downtrend. Why would we just assume that?
No. I'm not assuming here. I'm looking at the this bullish engulfing with increasing volume. Both are coinciding. If you look at the 3 days.
I mean, you go on the 3-day chart. Why don't you go look at that candle from Wednesday, July 27th?
Wednesday, July. Okay.
Look at that, right? Maybe we're just forming the flagpole right now. Why? It's just you don't like. That's the thing. We see green candle and we buy. We need to be buying red and selling green, right? Generally speaking. So
like you're You're saying 20 weekly on 7th July. You're saying?
No, I'm talking about the 3-day chart. Go to the candle from Wednesday, July 27th.
July 27th. Just a second.
Yeah, it's a big green candle, and what followed it.
Yeah.
So my point I'm making is maybe we're forming a flagpole here. I don't think just because this candle's green, we should assume the next candle's green.
I totally agree. But if you see on 27th July also, after that green candle, right, we formed a bull flag and then we went up. So,
that's what I'm saying, right? There you go. But you just said let's assume we go up for the next 3 days. I'm saying let's not assume that.
You have a good point there, but like people are so bearish.
Yeah, I do. Let's get to the point. Let's get to the point, brother. You're making good observations, but for me, and here's what I've been so clear about this. This is just chop up to 22.5. I'm up, it's just chop up to 22.5. It's where the price is telling us to watch. It could stop here and then bounce off 20.5K. I don't know what it's going to do in this choppy channel. It's sideways. We're sideways. You got to be more careful. You just got to do less here. Do less on the Bitcoin chart.
If you notice on the weekly also, like the last week, this week, the candle which is forming, we just touched the MA9, point, and then we bounced right off there.
Off of what? MA8?
MA9, yeah, MA8, yeah.
Sure.
19,929.
But you know why it did that? It's because we're sideways. Moving averages don't matter as much in sideways environments. It's really important.
Okay.
Like, oh, look, we're above the MA20. Like, no shit, we're above the MA20. We've been sideways for 20 weeks.
Right.
So you got to, every signal has context. And I think it's frustrating for new traders. I'm not saying you're a new trader, but it's frustrating for new traders who see something, a signal, and then they go try to apply it somewhere else. And it's not, none of these things are one-to-one. Like a candlestick signal should be at the lower Bollinger with volume, but it's also the context of the price movement before it. If you have a hammer candle after 10 sideways candles, it's not as good as a hammer candle after 10 down candles.
Correct.
So it's context, brother. So, all right. It's great to hear from you, man. All right.
Thank you, Shad. Thank you so much.
Take care, man. It's good to hear from you. I hope you do well. I think I sounds like you're on the right track. So good luck to you. Okay.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been doing nearly 20 spaces. I'm starting to recognize some of you folks now. Floki, you've been patient. It's your turn. YB Floki. It is your turn. And YB Floki, it is your turn. Let's see. Ya Banahene. That would be you, my friend. It's your turn to shine. Time to shine. We'll give you a few moments and see if you
Hello, can you hear me? Good evening.
Yo, what's up, buddy?
Okay, so I want to ask a very simple question as a beginner. I'm new to crypto and this whole market.
Welcome.
It's full of information. I want to know what strategy is best to use, whether to start off with trading, which resources can we get access to, whether buy or hold. What would be your advice for a new time person in this market?
So if you look at the top of this tweet,
okay.
At the top of the spaces, I attached 4 tweets. Do you see that?
Proud to announce the 27th April 2021 tweets.
Yep, that's the first one. That's my book. Keep sliding left. Okay, the textbook recommendations. That's probably a little bit more for a brand new. Maybe you wait a little bit, but save that tweet, bookmark that tweet, and then go to the final one where it says nearly 50K subs on YouTube. Please consider checking it out. Click on that. My YouTube channel has hundreds of hours for you right now that you need to start watching. You want to start with the playlist called Masterclass Webinars. Right? There's 3 beginner videos, which will teach you everything from volume to trend analysis, how to structure your trade, basic patterns, everything you need to know. There's 3 of those. And then there's an advanced video. Okay. Then there's a playlist called Twitter Spaces, which you are now part of. Okay. I'm going to eventually upload this video. There's 18 other conversations like this for me talking to people for hours about trading. Like new people. You have to listen to all of them. Okay.
All right.
Then you want to go to the playlist called Trading Wisdom. It's the free version of my book. There's more than a third of the book is available for free. It's me talking about the book and reading the book to you. Go watch that, and then you want to go to the playlist called Quick Market Updates, and that's where I explain my tweets. I do them like a month apart, and then I explain my tweets, what they mean, and I show you. So there you go. That's where you start. You should watch all of that, before you really start experimenting with trading. All right.
Okay. Thanks for the info, and then I'll report in with my progress as I watch the video. Thank you very much.
I hope you do. All right. Take care,
Thank you.
All right. Let's see who's next. Let's hit Gaitan. Let's get you in the house, Gaitan.
Hey, Chad.
What's going on, man?
I would just like to thank you for all the knowledge you have been sharing. I really learned a lot as a trader. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
And I have a question regarding the BNB daily chart. So basically,
bullish, right? Pretty bullish.
Yeah, but there is one problem, I would say, regarding if we observe the OBV and if we observe the huge resistance we had since the May. So obviously,
what time frame OBV, my friend?
We are talking about the daily chart.
Okay, all right. Talking about like that single bear divergence from the August high.
Exactly. Okay. So basically, if we want to compare, so obviously we crossed a major resistance over here, and if we compare it with bearish here OBV, so what kind of signals do we want to look?
It's very easy. This is a really easy answer. It's a really easy, and you have a great observation. So if I'm concerned about that divergence, all that really matters is, does the price stay above that August high of like 330 or whatever?
So are we talking? So do we need to cross? Do we need to have like one closing, one daily candle?
No. That's a different question. You're talking about confirmation. Confirmation. We'll get to that, and I'll get to your question. I'll answer that in a second.
Okay.
But if you're long, and you're long because it broke that resistance, well, that idea fails when it's back below the resistance. So if the bearish divergence matters, all that really matters is that it stays above 335. Right. That's like the divergence is a sign to watch to see if Bitcoin can stay, or if BNB can stay above 335. So now we're back to all that really matters is the price versus the horizontal level. So we don't even we didn't even really need the divergence. Like the divergence doesn't really tell us much there. Right. Just because it's just that level is all that matters, and we already knew that. In terms of confirmation, look, I trade during the day, so I'm trading like on like
bacon, egg, and cheese on a plain bagel.
Absolutely, bro. I'll help for you shortly. All right. So, sorry, I don't know if like I was trolling or he thought he was unmuted and is actually in the drive-through. So, confirmation, like I trade during the day, so I'll just take the trade as it's happening. But like people have day jobs, they have to wait for a candle close, daily candle, 4-hour candle. That's based on your risk threshold. So the longer you wait for confirmation, the less risky it is. Right. But it's just based on how much, are you day trading or do you have a day job? That's
yeah. Okay. I'm clear. Thank you, Chad.
Great to have you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
I'll let this guy try one more time, Lord. You gotta wait till I unmute you though. Crypto Santo, you gotta wait till I unmute you, buddy. All right. Let's see. Andy, go ahead, Andy. Andy Burb is the wall.
Hey, dog. Thanks. Yeah, I was just curious your sort of long-term thoughts on some of what I would see and many, discussed as existential threats to Bitcoin. I'm kind of curious what you see about like blockchain's future in a more medium and long term anyway, as far as who's going to be.
It's a very interesting topic. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like Bitcoin in particular, I've sort of focused on the existential threats that I sort of see.
Okay. What's the biggest one? What's the biggest one?
Environmental sustainability.
Proof of work versus proof of stake.
Or proof of space and time is an interesting one, because then you have the Nakamoto protocol. You get all the benefits of the Bitcoin, basically, which I think is important. Like the value prop of Bitcoin, I think is important, which is like a hard money digital analogy, right? Like something tied to the real world. I think is important in decentralization, whereas POS, like I'm interested in Ethereum and what it's been doing. But I do think that, maybe it can be mitigated somehow, but the decentralization aspect is obviously, in question with POS. So have you looked at, so I mean, like, one paper has stated that, like, historically it looks like in order to move up the market cap of Bitcoin 0.25%, it coincides with a 10% increase in carbon footprint. And basically you have 5 years ago in Bitcoin,
with today's technology.
Yes.
And let's say societal participation and whatever the quotient is of that, level of societal participation, right?
Right. So, I mean, a lot of hand waving is done about, future technology, but in my mind,
okay, let's say, right, but don't you think we have technology now to recapture a lot of that waste and use it if we wanted to? You don't think so?
No, a lot of talk is basically goes around the fact that, like, they've implemented like that, like vent capture of, and it's like a very small aspect, and it's like, maybe in the future, but here's the thing, like
what about the heat though? What about just the heat though of the machines? Isn't that also?
Sure, I'm sure there's a lot of ways to capture different things, but I think the issue is that overall it's an endless vortex of want of energy through hash power. Whereas, like, if you look at, for example, like the Chia project is one that, and has been
What's that?
like,
what's
so
Chia
that
project?
proof of space and time, which is basically utilizing hard drive space that isn't being used as instead of hash power. As far
hard
as
drive space, okay.
Yeah, so it's basically like plotting on hard drives and like farming it in that way. And I just think that it's cool because, that's an example of how you can do a hard money analogy. You know what I mean? Like something where it's connected to the real world and it's decentralized, unlike POS, but it's a more sustainable application. So what I was saying is that, like, historic, like, basically there's only 1 million active daily wallets on Bitcoin, and 5 years ago there was 500,000. So to me, like, that's a pretty pathetic growth and a pretty pathetic, like, in absolute numbers, like, utilization, whereas the energy usage is like Argentina, like 40 million people. So I just see that as the number one threat. And then, also there's competitors, there's attack via, hash power 51% attack, which, most of these chains have an issue with that. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it. I see, like, the White House put out a paper that said 1.4% of, like, all greenhouse gases in America are from American mining. Like, I think that the nations will probably start banning Bitcoin, like, mining. I think that's just my, like, feeling. So anyway, I was just seeing what you think about, like, the long-term winners, and, like, if you've thought much about the environmental, lack of sustainability and growth in Bitcoin, essentially.
I think you sound really smart and you're making great points. I mean, look, I think I think it's undeniable that there is a problem with the current model, like, in terms of you just run it out. I get that, like, and all the energy needed, and like, so what do you do with that? And so that's the problem with proof of work. And then proof of stake, is it decentralized? I think you kind of, like, touched on all that, and I get that. And, like, and the caveat here is, you're asking me, this is a topic at which I'm not professionally trained. I've never read any textbooks. I'm not, like, when I talk about trading, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not like, I'm not perfect, but, like, this is my weakness, FA. So I think you're, and there's great people, Pintoshi, Trader XO. There's a guy, Checkmatey, who I follow, works I think at Blockworks or something. There's a lot of people, Demister. Like, there's a lot of really good fundamental analysts who look into this stuff. And so if you're really interested, like, you've kind of come to the wrong place. Because I don't have anything smart to say, but other than recognizing that there is a problem. And so the question is, though, but to the fact that we're talking about it, it's already factored into the price. So, like, then so, if I'm thinking from a trading standpoint, I don't know, the market. I feel like the market will have to do something about it. Like, the market will have to self-correct in some way. And then there's regulatory is, like, obviously a major overhang for crypto and Bitcoin. And that's always been the big potential killer. So I don't know. And this is, there's so much uncertainty about the future. And that's why I'm just really thankful what we have today, which we do have today. And I'm just trying to enjoy it. And I don't really have really smart answers about your smart questions, but I do think they're good questions to be asked.
Well, that's very intelligent to say that you don't know. And I don't know about trading and charts and stuff. And I'd like to learn some more. But I am more interested in sort of the long-term things because I can sort of start to. I'm not smart enough for that either, but I think it's more interesting personally. Anyway, if you want to keep chatting, hit me up. I'd love it if you posted those dudes who you were talking about, like in a
I'll open a
post
DM.
or ups.
I'll open a
Okay,
DM
cool.
for you just so
Right
I
on.
can. But I'll hit it
Yeah,
up later.
and my last point is that I don't believe that the topics that I'm discussing are probably are necessarily priced in. I hang out with BTC Maxi Moon Boys, which is like where my brain was at like 5 years ago, back before I dove in again. And like, it's a lot of hand waving about these existential threats because of bags and like just, Kool-Aid to the brain. So, I'm not sure that it is priced in, but yeah, anyway, I appreciate you.
All right, I shot you a text. I'll send those names after. Take
Cool,
care,
thanks,
man. All right, take care, buddy. Let's see. Let's go, Lord. Let's try again. Did you get that breakfast sandwich?
I did, man. I'm so sorry. I knew something was going to happen when I put my phone in my pocket. But
I didn't know if you were like just. It was funny. I don't know if you were trolling, but
no,
it's good.
man.
What's up?
I just wanted to come talk to you.
Yeah.
I've been following you since 2017. You've actually made me some money with some
Nope.
of the trades that you called
Nope.
out.
I haven't made you any money.
But
I don't want credit.
I've learned how to make money from learning from you. So
there we got. That's
phrase.
it. You deserve it. Like, please take your victories, people.
Thanks,
I don't.
Yeah. That's all I had, man. I don't want to take up too much time. I just wanted to come tell you that, man. You're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing.
It's super nice of you to say that. When I started, people helped me, right, a lot, and I've lost so much money, and that's like why I do what I do. Is like I don't want people to repeat the mistakes, and it's great to hear it connecting. So enjoy your day, man. Thank you so much. Let's see. That was dope. Let's go to Loco Yeti. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Loco Yeti. What is up?
GM, how y'all doing?
Yo.
What up? I'm just curious how you're feeling with the news of the recession coming up. Where do you see the market really going in the next 30 days? Are we going to see a bigger bottom?
Just don't know. I just don't know. I don't really.
Weird,
I don't. Nobody has an edge. It's sideways. Bitcoin's trendless. I mean, there's clues. Sure, there's clues. I mean, weekly chart. If we're talking about Bitcoin, if you want to talk about equities, I'm not as confident because I don't study it as closely, and I think that's a lot more headline sensitive, like Fed sensitive and all that. But like crypto, Bitcoin's below the weekly 200, and we're definitely trending down. On the longer time frames, but we're also now more sideways, certainly on the daily and the weekly, starting to get really sideways. And when you're sideways, nobody really has an edge, right? All technical analysis is identifying a trend. You ride the trend, and then you profit from the moves that go against the trend, right? Like, so a big uptrend that just dips, right? Now I'm jumping in and buying the blood because it's a move against the trend, right? And that's what proper TA should be. When we're sideways, it's like we're out here reading tea leaves. We got to like, what's going to happen next? All you can really do is identify key pivot levels. So if it's above 22.5, you look to get long because you're recapturing a lost level. If it gets down around 18K, maybe you look for a long, and see but you want to see what the price does down there. You want to look for a spring or some type of a low time frame reversal pattern or something. It's an area of interest. But then now you also have Ethereum outperforming in this environment. You have the sideways Bitcoin with Ethereum outperforming, and then all these altcoins are going nuts. And usually this is what happens after Bitcoin tops off, is where you have, like, when you have Bitcoin topping off, then Ethereum outperforms, and then these altcoins all run. And so I don't know. It's like it'd be weird if this was like how a bull run started, because it doesn't usually start like this way. So we'll see. We'll see. So we have some clues, but really we don't have much because it's trendless. And when it's trendless on this in this daily, at least, it's trendless. We don't really have much of an edge. So I don't know, brother. I really don't know. I just know where to watch. I know where to watch, and that's all I know.
Right. Find the leveled out points or whatever, and go from there. Like if ETH was to go down to 12 and then break down below the 12 line.
1200 or 12 like a MA? Or what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, 1200.
So look, right now, if Ethereum drops to like 1420, you want to buy there because that's a breakout level. It just flipped, right? That'd be a bullish throwback. But if it loses it, you can short it and have a stop loss at like 1450. If it drops to around 1270, that's an area of interest. 1250 to 1280. I mean, that's a buy level, depending on how it handles it there, right? That's the top of that ascending triangle that broke out and ran to 12K. And that's where it held most recently. That's the higher low. So, I mean, Ethereum's got all these different levels of interest. It's got more action. It's a lot more tradable. It's got cleaner levels really than Bitcoin. And I'm thankful for that. So
yeah, very interesting. Thank you very much, bro. I appreciate the words and the knowledge.
I hope you have a great day, man. Thanks for stepping up. Hey, have you seen you've been to my YouTube channel yet?
No, I have to check it out though.
Oh, you're trading without having watched my masterclass videos?
I'm gonna have to watch it, man.
Dude, I'm shocked. I'm literally shocked that people will risk money when they haven't watched my free master. These, like, each video could be like $1,000 course. They're free. You got to go watch them.
Definitely. I'm all about it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks
so much. Cheers. I love you guys. Who's up next? Mike, you're up next. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I just I popped in briefly, and if I misheard, I apologize. But did you, like, with the previous speaker, were you suggesting that you guys think that the U.S. government is going to, like, actually attempt to ban proof of work mining? Because if that's what you guys thought, I would like to provide some pushback.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I don't have an opinion either way. I think he was more raising the question or the topic that what do you think about this, and are you concerned about proof of work sustainability? I think that was kind of how he had started the conversation, and I'm not really a fundamental analyst, so I don't have strong views on that. But if you do, I think there would be value with you kind of sharing with us your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. Because the reason I wanted to provide some pushback on that is that, so with, like, macroeconomically, the way the situation is going, not just for the U.S. but globally, is we're going to need more oil and gas production. And I had a brief stint with Great American Mining, which is, for those that don't know who that entity is, they're a small company that was specifically specialized in providing proof of work miners, specifically Bitcoin miners, to consume associated natural gas that's a waste byproduct as far as oil production goes, particularly in the back end basin of North Dakota. And the biggest reason I wanted to provide pushback is that what the data that we had collected and aggregated was that by using Bitcoin miners to consume the associated natural gas, by consuming that and reducing the emission profile of those projects, it was allowing for increased oil production while being able to basically thread the very small needle that the EPA and the individual state environmental regulations are providing, which allows for the oil producers to, again, increase oil production while massively mitigating their environmental emissions profile, and also, like, producing Bitcoin from the mining operations on the side as far as an additional revenue stream. So I just wanted to give a little bit of pushback because, like, understanding that very fundamental dynamic would really, like, once you understand that, like, the U.S. is actually incentivized to co-opt Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining, especially with the oil and gas sector. And, like, regardless of whether you agree that we need oil and gas, like, I think everybody can agree we need nuclear, and in order to produce nuclear, we need oil and gas. So there's really no way around it.
All right.
Hey, could I possibly just tag right on to what Mike was saying? Because it's like I jumped up for the same reason. I basically heard you say something to the effect of there's a problem surrounding this proof of work versus proof of stake thing. So I want to keep it short and sweet. There's basically a couple just undeniable, undebatable facts that people should keep in mind, because I think part of what's confusing to people outside of Bitcoin looking at Bitcoin is there's so much messaging in the media about proof of work as a problem and this energy consumption is a problem. So I can clear that up very simply. Proof of work is not a problem. Proof of work is a feature. It's not a bug. It's not some undesirable side effect of Bitcoin mining. It is a key feature of Bitcoin mining, and it adds to the security and decentralization of the network in a way that just simply cannot be reproduced by proof of stake. So if anything, there's a problem with the fact that all of these crypto projects, namely Ethereum, who just converted to proof of stake, they're selling a bill of goods. They're selling you snake oil in the terms of telling you that they have the same security models or decentralization or these other key features with proof of stake, while simultaneously saving the planet by using less energy. It's really a load of BS. The use of energy for Bitcoin, as Mike eloquently described, can be actually used to make grids more stable and reliable, can be used to consume all the energy that's wasted in so many different energy production and refinement processes, as well as tons of resources that are just located in inconvenient locations in the world that where those resources can't be brought to market. Bitcoin's energy consumption is an incredible resource for the 21st century as far as modernizing and taking a lot of energy production to the next level. So
see, this is why I wish he had stuck around, because I had said to him, and thank you for stepping up, and I'll let you continue. And again, this is not my area of expertise, but I said, I'm assuming with our current technology, it's just that we don't have full buy-in by governments. Like, obviously, if humanity decided to use the energy, we could use it a lot more efficiently, right?
So this is where it's confusing. And, to you as a trader, this is incredible, important information, because what this is an arbitrage opportunity, not between price, but between knowledge. There's a ton of people who just do not understand this at all. Yep. And the price does not reflect the opportunity here whatsoever, because while a bunch of people are being basically gaslighted and told that there's something wrong with proof of work, or that Bitcoin has an environmental problem, you literally have like giant energy companies. ExxonMobil's a good example. In the last year, they announced that they had been mining Bitcoin, and they just took their Bitcoin mining to the whole next level by launching pilot programs in 4 different countries. And it's a dual forked strategy. It helps them, like Mike described, reduce their flared gases, because instead of just flaring off methane or natural gas, they can consume that and put it into Bitcoin mining. And then they also generate additional revenue streams from it. So this is an absolute game changer.
By the way, it's also Chevron and ConocoPhillips that are both doing it.
Yeah. So, this is one thing I knew, is that once Exxon announced this, you're going to see other major oil producers follow suit, because the edge that it gives them as far as, environmental footprint and as far as additional revenue streams is just undeniable bottom line results. So while the mainstream media is telling you that everyone should move to proof of stake and proof of work is bad and Bitcoin's boiling the oceans, like, the truth on the ground is that this is being adopted on a mass scale in the energy industry. So there's a huge arbitrage here, opportunity, where the price does not reflect at all the role that Bitcoin mining is going to play as far as just the energy industry alone. Just forget about like the monetary side of things. Like, this is a massive, massive opportunity. And we're going to watch this over the next decade, over this decade, play out, where one major energy producer after the next realizes that this is just a no-brainer. There's not a debate here. Would you like to reduce your pollution and increase your revenue? Here you go. And then at the same time, you've got a lot of grids like what they're doing in Texas, where they're able to expand the capacity of the grids because the Bitcoin miners serve as an endless consumer of that power that's generated. So they make much more robust grids. Bitcoin mining could be shut off at the drop of a hat to allow for a spike in demand. And this would prevent the kind of incidents that happened like 2 years ago, where people died because the grid couldn't handle the spike in demand. So it's a very, very powerful kind of new dynamic and new technology paradigm in the energy production industry.
And by the way, Ched's, to your kind of expertise level as far as trading goes, and you're talking about how the volatility is going sideways. I was listening to a FinTwit Spaces this morning with Michael Gaid. I can't remember the guy's name, the speaker's name that he was speaking with is Ashaf, I think. He was talking about how a lot of, like, not only from his point of view, but a lot of hedge funds and portfolio managers are looking at Bitcoin because of the fact that the volatility has completely died away, while the volatility in legacy markets, including the bond market, like and especially forex, has clearly ratcheted up. So like things are really like the tides are really starting to shift in a lot of different ways. So it's like I'm not suggesting that there's any sort of bull run starting, but appetite is shifting a little bit from what I've seen.
That's great. Thank you so much. So I'm glad both of you folks just, stepped up. Great perspectives. And I mean, obviously, I think the topic is of what we're going to do with the energy is really interesting. How we're going to, we'll have to adapt because there's a demand to keep it going. And I think it's interesting that the excess energy is going to force us towards efficiencies. So it's great. Great to have you folks up. Thank you so much, TC. Thank you, Mike. We're going to wrap it up. We've just one more.
Oh,
guest.
and Chaz, I'm sorry. One last thing I wanted to add to like to really kind of like hammer home TC's point is, and a lot of people
did a pretty good job hammering it. But go ahead.
It was just like maybe 1 minute. A lot of people don't understand with regards to the energy industry is it's really difficult to upgrade transmission infrastructure without the demand also being there. So like the natural kind of the natural evolution is like the demand has to increase and then like the transmission infrastructure has to increase like slowly in lockstep with it. So like with the dynamics that TC and I the dynamics that TC and I laid out is like when you have a consistent demand, they can continue to ratchet up. Transmission infrastructure can also be upgraded. That's all I wanted to add.
That's great. I hope you guys come back, both you come back and share in this topic. I appreciate everything you've told us today, man. Thank you so much. I mean that. Thank you very much, both of you. Crypto, you're the crypto wizard. Oh, Haroon. What's up, Haroon?
Hey there, Chats. How are you?
What's up? Hey, good. How are you? How you been?
I'm good. Thanks. Recently, I've been watching your video and
which one?
I mean, your 17 videos which you already published on YouTube. So the main advice which you gave us that don't trade in the middle of a channel. I think it's a $1 million advice, and it helped me a lot in terms of fading and in terms of longing. So. I would advise everyone to take this advice too seriously, as it will help your trading skills in the future.
I love it. Oh, that's so smart. It's so true. I mean, you know what's crazy? Some of the best traders, they might take like one trade every 3 months, right? It's like a lot of time you just got to be patient, and the really good opportunities will jump up and hit you in the face.
Correct.
All right. I'm so glad to hear from you.
One thing, Chad, I'm concerned about that currently we are watching some alts shooting up, and those who have faded them, I'm sure they're worried. If you look at BNB, Matic, and the BTC, Bitcoin, it's not performing that way, the way it should. So I don't understand this scenario that alts are becoming strong and the large caps are not as strong comparing.
It's weird. Yeah, it's not good. It's usually what we see at the end of a pump. This type of these money flows, it's usually what we see after a big Bitcoin move, when the move is done. So it's not a good sign.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't mean I'll still be open-minded to a bull move for Bitcoin if it breaks resistance. I mean, it's pretty simple for me. But I'm definitely concerned.
And yes, you've also shared the thesis about 12K Bitcoin. So it looks like if we saw that level, it's going to be capitulation level, since we see the area of interest is 18.5 and 18K right now. So I'm sure that 12K is going to be interesting if we saw that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big area. It's a big level of support. There's a little bit at 13, 14K, but there's a lot at 12. So.
All right. And one more thing, as I've always been trading, this advice have been always in my ears with your voice that don't trade in the middle of a channel, and I'm really thankful for that.
All right, I love you, man. Stay. Good luck to you. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, folks. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter. If you're listening right now with me several days later, and this is a replay, thank you for hanging out with me in the chat room. This Twitter, I know it sounds weird the way I said it, but this will be uploaded to my YouTube channel probably a few days from now. And when I do that, I sit and I hang out in the chat room. So if you're hearing this now and it's days later, hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter, YouTube, Cheds Trading. Check out my masterclass webinars. check out my free version of my book. Check out my market updates. Check it all out. Hopefully you enjoy it. Let me know your feedback. I'm the author of Trading Wisdom. It's available on Amazon in 4 formats. The reviews are like 4.7 out of 5 stars. Great reviews. I have a new book that's about to come out in a few weeks called Trading Quotes. You're going to love it. Putting the finishing touches on it right now. And of course, Bitcoin Live. Bitcoin Live is the best in-class educational platform for crypto. I do it twice a week, full market update. I haven't missed a report in years. It doesn't matter what's going on in my life. I stop and do a report. And I think we have the best team in the world that studies crypto. And I think if you look at it, it's hard to argue. So thank you for listening to this Spaces. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. So thank you for hanging out, and I will talk to you soon. Big Cheds out. All right, that was it. That was the replay from November 5th, just a few days ago. Market has been crazy just while I've been uploading this. The market's been jumping all around, which is super fun. So maybe I might even do another Spaces today. So keep an eye out for that. But folks, anyway, thanks for listening. Stay safe out there and good luck with all your trades. Big Cheds out.